Hi, and welcome back to Katie's Corner in Space. This week's Lower Deck was so much fun. From the Corvarian bloodworms to the Borg snake, from fantasy orbs to not quite plain old rocks. I really dug that snake though. Tendi had one heck of a first day in officers training, and the fantasies and nightmares messed with two crews in an unnecessary competition. Two captains did a wonderful portrayal of school children playing I Don't Want It, You Take It, while supposedly mediating a treaty between a group of geologists studying the planet below and the indigenous sentient life known as the Scrubble. Of course, the mediation turns out all to be a devious plan for the Scrubble and the geologists to gather classified information, a plan swiftly thwarted thanks to the crazy Lower Decks crews of both ships. Anyway, the episode was great fun all around, and I guess I just gave you the synopsis, so let's take a look at some of the scenes that simply made the episode. I'm going to have to start with everything having to do with the crew rivalry, or at least what looks to be a crew rivalry until the Cerritos crew realizes the Carlsbad crew has heard of the legendary annex of the most famous California-class starship in all of Starfleet, and of course the best Lower Decks crew as well. The descriptions traveling through Starfleet of Mariner, Tendi, and Rutherford are epic and accurate. Boimler's, of course, is a different story.
In stories, you're described as a tiny comedic robot that is always getting into trouble.
And how about Tendi? Wow, an officer mentor she doesn't seem to get much from, and an assignment she'd rather avoid? Yeah, it's a rough day that quickly has her running to her real mentor, who has some wise advice and some questionable medical equipment.
You'll be a great officer on the bridge one day, but you're gonna have to risk screwing things up to get there.
This was a great Tendi episode, and I'm really excited to see her as she's challenged further in her training. As for the away team this week, things pretty much went as per usual, but with extra players in the hijinks. It seems the legendary crew of the Cerritos underestimated themselves, and while trying to impress the Carlsbad crew there to work with them, they release a world of nightmares loose. It was great, to be honest. I love the killer clowns from space with batleth arms, and someone please tell me who is Grimace with tentacles? I'm seriously drawing a blank. Again, I may have to do some research and see if I can dig up a name. The Borg snake though, who came up with that? It was just frightening in all the best ways. But the Kukulkan, out of nowhere to start the nightmarish attack, that was perfect. Now the captains fighting like toddlers was a bit much for me, honestly, maybe for a few seconds, but I really can't see any reason for this argument to go on so long. Except it's a cartoon, and of course it's a little ridiculous. But it really was a bit much. Especially when Ransom begins to start to sound like the voice of reason. I'm just saying. Yeah, so today's episode was yet another hit for me. I thoroughly enjoyed the dreams come to life of it all. I, of course, flashed to multiple Star Trek shows, but also oddly Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Yeah, I'm eclectic. And that's what I've got for you folks today, except for this, because really it surprised me and really cracked me up.
So you were just kidding about my foot to make a point, right?
Did you like this episode as much as I did? I'm finding more and more Lower Decks is just a great way to start the day. I just want to say thanks so much for checking in, and also remind you I'm gearing up to follow yet another show on the horizon and have begun creating accordingly. So if you just so happen to enjoy things that do come out of nightmares, please check out the link in the corner, which lead to the videos I'm creating for the supernatural prequel, The Winchesters. It starts October 11th, and I plan to have clips and reviews out Wednesday and Thursday, as well as, of course, any upcoming seasons of Trek on Thursdays and Friday. So subscribe now, like below if you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you again next week for another Trek Lower Decks. Until then, bye!